Well. What
Good
do
to
we
see you,
have
buddy.
here?
Yeah,
A
what do
couple of
we?
bumbling idiots that haven't spoken in a while.
It's
What's going on,
been
guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Blue Jay Way podcast. Chris May and Jack Ryan. The
oh,
fellas are back
it's good to be back, buddy. Good to see you.
after the winter and quite frankly after the second half of last season, but we'll get to that. We got plenty to get to, a ton to get to. Obviously, a lot's changed, a lot's gone down.
Yeah,
Jack, why don't
we've
we get right into it? I don't know where you want to start really, but we haven't spoken in a while.
yeah.
And obviously the Jays in like the most feebly just embarrassing fashion, it got eliminated from the playoffs in the wild card round against the
Yeah,
Minnesota Twins last season. That happened about 4 months ago now, 3 months ago, three and a half probably
yeah,
in
something like that.
October, maybe a bit longer, but obviously wasn't probably the way that anyone envisioned kind of the whole season going. It was just kind of a kind of season, buddy. It was just
Yeah.
kind of, I don't know. The team just never had that. They never clicked.
No, and you and I talked about this at length. It was like we just both kind of simultaneously, silently agreed that we're just talking about the same shit over and over again.
I mean, they didn't really bring us much joy near the end of the season.
No, and they went out with, like you said, they went out with a whimper against
Yeah,
the Twins. Like we gave the Twins their first postseason win in 20 years or something.
we're even the most predictable. Like, if
Uh,
you want a year, you could have seen it. You could have
yeah,
predicted.
when your team's like the average OPS on the team or like the median OPS on the team is 750, that's really not it. You
And in
know,
any, you really don't come through all year.
no, like and say what you want. I mean, Vladdy had some of the worst luck that we've ever seen from an offensive standpoint. A lot of his balls that were hit over 95 miles an hour just found a way into a glove, which that's baseball. Like that's how the game works, unfortunately. The offense was abysmal. Let's just call a spade, shall we? But I will say the pitching and defense was exactly as advertised, if not better, which
Yeah, but in
looking
terms of
at,
entertainment value and
oh,
excitement
yeah.
level, it
What was
wasn't
that?
was enjoyable to run.
Yeah, what was that 90s commercial? Chicks dig the long ball. Yeah, we didn't have a lot of that last year.
And it
So,
was so strange because they moved the fences in at the Rogers Center and power heading went down.
yeah, it was a weird, like the fences got higher, but they got moved in. So I don't know if that was like a weird effect on the offense last year, or I don't know, maybe they just subscribed too much to Guillermo Martinez's
You got to
uh, philosophy of going opposite field all the time. But
just hit it on the ground to the opposite field, ground into it, double plays.
yeah,
Uh, Um, we're gonna kind of turn the page on that here today and talk more so about the team that's going to be taking the field here in about a month.
yeah,
Uh,
not much different from last year's squad, if in all honesty.
Honest, we're talking about a lack of excitement from the team last year. The lack of excitement carried on into the offseason. I will say that.
Where's the excitement?
And I don't want to be too much of a downer here.
Yeah,
I do truly hope these guys can put it together. And I will say last year there were a lot of down years.
yeah.
So hopefully maybe guys can have better seasons coming up. But
Mm.
the team got worse, and I'm just gonna be honest. If you just not don't want to get too numbers driven here, too geeky, but some of the numbers would just lead you to believe that the team got worse. Um,
I
you
mean,
know,
should we start with the biggest elephant in the room that we lost Matt Chapman,
yeah, we lost Matt Chapman. He went to the Giants, pretty affordable contract.
which the Jays offered him over 100 million and he turned it down.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, it seems like it was more so his decision,
Yeah.
not why. I mean, I thought he was an okay fit. I mean, I will say last year he was incredibly frustrating to watch at the plate. He
Not for the first month. First month was
oh,
good. April was solid. He won player of the month, but then yeah, he couldn't hit a beach ball.
he was a guy that in big spots really didn't could never come through.
Yeah, especially hitting in the 4th or 5th spot.
A lot of
So
spots in critical situations for him.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm okay with it in a sense that you've got some prospects that are going to come up here soon, probably, and they
Yeah.
play good third base and hit probably at the level that Chapman did for the most part when he was here. But the Jays have just so many infielders. They're just replacing that guy Matt Chapman, who we all know what he is,
Yeah.
solid player. And they're just almost trying to like replace him with volume. And if they're trying to like combine like three guys and make them like one guy,
Yeah, you
which,
got
if you're like platooning IKF, who signed with the Jays for a lot of money for some reason. Uh,
was it 9.5 per season over 2 years?
no, I think, yeah,
Yeah.
uh, my eyes, but
I don't know. Here's the thing too, is that they got him basically to be Chapman, just so the worst bat, I guess, but you can't really get much worse than Chapman was from May on last year. That said, I don't think IKF is in the same realm of defense as Matt Chapman is. He did win a Gold Glove, but let's be honest, the COVID season doesn't fucking count. It was 60 games.
yeah, well, that's games.
So
Opportunities to make an error, I guess, that in that season, you can make that argument. Uh,
yeah,
but still, he's a good defender. I don't think he's going to hurt the team on, most nights
no.
over there. But yeah, like if IKF's coming up with a couple guys on and you're down two, I don't know if I back him to even get an extra base hit more times than not, let alone hit a home run. So it's just kind of, you're just lacking that, like, why should I get excited when this guy's coming up to the plate? But we will see. He's obviously got a big opportunity here. He's going to be playing a lot. So, maybe he'll deliver some electric moments. You never know. Anybody can if you're stepping up to the plate there. Not much else really did change, Jack, though. You're correct. I mean, Kevin Kiermaier came back. It's good.
Yeah, that was the one guy that I wanted them to bring back if they were gonna kind of run it back with the same squad. I wasn't keen on getting Chapman back. I wasn't too keen on getting Belt back. I wasn't keen on bringing back. Oh God, who else was on the team last year that left?
I think that's it.
Is that it? Belt, Chapman, Kiermaier. Yeah. Okay. So out of those three,
Jordan Hicks left.
oh, Hicks. There you go. That guy. I mean, he wants to be a starter. He's with Chapman in San Francisco now. All the best to both of them. I hope they have good seasons. I don't see Jordan Hicks working out as a starter, in my opinion, because he throws 103. Yeah, but when you're on a 25 pitch limit, you can avoid or you can afford to do that. Versus when you're a starter, you got to stretch it out over 6, 7 innings. So you're going to be down probably 5, 6 miles an hour just to have longevity throughout your start. He's going to be around 96, 97, which nowadays is league average on a fastball.
Yeah, he doesn't have much variety either. It's
No.
that sinker at 100 or like the slide or the whatever the breaking ball is that can be a meat times.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like he needs like a third pitch too if he wants to be a starter. But in terms of additions, I'd say the Jays had like two kind of bigger ones. The second one of these intrigues me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, Justin Turner, obviously, you kind of know what you're getting there. So far in spring training, we've seen him in action a little bit. He looks a little rusty, but I think as a vet, that's more common.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect him to get off to an incredibly hot start, but he did drive in, I think, 90 plus runs last year. He's a smart hitter, probably a good situational hitter.
Yeah.
He's going to battle a lot with guys on base, with Bo Bichette and Vlad hitting in front of him, probably most likely.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all.
800 OPS at age 38. That's not bad at all.
No,
All things considered.
this team and what we kind of thought of them a couple of years ago with the young group coming up. And if you told me, our big opper here is going to be a 38-year-old like stopgap DH or whatever, however old, whatever age he is, late 30s, like I'd be like, well, that's a little weird, but
Yeah.
are and then the second one is this Cuban pitcher that I actually do kind of think this guy could be good.
Hmm.
Yariel Rodriguez. He pitched
Yep.
in Japan a little bit, and I don't know. Saw him at the WBC. He looks pretty good actually. Like he's got a nasty slider. So
He
uh,
does.
yeah, and the Jays are kind of considering starting him. I guess it's in the cards if they can build him up to that point. But
Well, he said when he signed here, his ideal spot is to be a starter. But that said,
always use him out of the bullpen too. He's good. That's what
yeah,
he did.
yeah, exactly. But if this Alek Manoah shoulder soreness, which little spoiler alert, there's a lot going on with Jay starting pitching.
Yeah, we got to get it now. Manoa probably that's actually probably a good direction to take this now. I would say.
Yeah, because he's dealing with shoulder soreness, and then also Kevin Gosman's dealing with
Yeah, has been hurt.
shoulder fatigue or something for Gosman, I believe is what it is.
Yeah, it doesn't seem too serious with either of them, I guess, but yeah, like they're not doing probably their normal thing.
No, but both, I can't say that I'm entirely shocked with what's going on with Gosman because the guy pitched, I believe, the most innings he's ever pitched in a major league season, and he's now 32 or 33 years old. So that tiredness and the adrenaline wearing off from last year probably has been his shoulders like, dude, I need a break. I need to not throw a baseball for another. And that's what's been keeping him out of spring training starts and out of games, even coming out of the bullpen, let's say. He hasn't been seen. No one's seen him. So
Yeah, for sure. And I haven't seen anything saying like he won't be ready for the season, so I'm not too concerned.
yeah, we're only what are we,
Like
10 games in? There's still 20 to go or so.
days away, like
Yeah, we got a little
3,
while.
so I think it'll be okay. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I think we've seen Jose Barrios looking pretty good in spring early on here, so that's a good sign. He has been kind of, he had that one rough year, obviously, but he's kind of in the model of consistency for the team, I would say. Chris Bassett's looked good too. Kikuchi's looked good, so there's some positives. The rotation will be the strong suit of the team, and then you just gotta hope that the lineup, you can get some guys that have some good years, really.
Yeah, yeah, and I think as a fan base and even us, well, we are fans, but at the same time, like we're critical thinkers when it comes to doing this. So we got to
Well,
remember, Vladdy's only.
very honest here about the team
Well,
because
you got to be.
you can't lie to yourself
No,
and like great things if you're not feeling it.
no, exactly, and the whole thing that I have to remember myself and what a lot of fans need to remember is that Vladdy's only 24 years old. He's about to turn 25. We just think of him as like we see him
I
and he's
think
a veteran.
I think he's gonna have a year. I do. I do.
Yeah.
I believe in him.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, hello, wearing his jersey.
I really do want it. And you know what Bo's gonna do. Why don't we talk about George Springer a bit?
I'm down. I'm down. We'll circle back to Manoa after Springer. Just
Oh yeah, no, let's do Manoa first, and then we
Manoa first. Okay. All right.
So probably we talked about Manoa last year when it was happening. Uh,
Mhm.
since we've been away, I mean, obviously he got sent down again. Wasn't happy about it. Complained about it. I don't know why anyone in their right mind would feel like they have any right to pitch at a major league level and whine and moan about it when like you just aren't performing up to the standard.
Yeah.
What it means to be a major league pitcher. I'm not a major league pitcher, I know that, but if I'm like not performing up to standards at most jobs,
You get
you
talking to.
magnified on these stages. And, I understand being completely probably like just absolutely floored at what happened. But, it does seem like he worked hard. And spring didn't start well for him, but I'm not gonna write him off after
No.
the innings in Lakeland, Florida, or whatever it was. Um, I do want this guy to succeed. I do think that this coming into this, he doesn't have to have a mindset of I need to start opening day and whatnot and put the weight of the team on my shoulders. You know, you're competing for the fifth spot in the rotation. You can fly under the radar and just do your work and you know try and be as you know and just be as confident as possible on the mound because I don't know. It seems like with him, he's just I don't know. He gets shaken or he can't lock it in and he just loses complete control. He doesn't know where it's going.
You know, the tough look of it is that he's showing 95 on his fast. My dog's barking up a storm. I apologize.
Can't really hear.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. So you know, he showed promise in his first start as far as velocity goes. Like he was hitting 95, 96, which is what he was
Wasn't
sort of.
here for him. So
Yeah, he was only hitting what 93 max, maybe a 94 here and there. So his velocity's back up, and he looked a lot more slimmed down in camp this year than he did last year. Last year, Alec, I love you, but you were big boy last year. You were CC Sabathia in his prime right there. Um, but yeah, he looks slimmed down. The fastball's looking good. He did hit three guys.
yeah, I know.
Which but he but he led the league in hit batters when he was dominant. He likes to work inside, so I'd rather him.
He's kind of bringing it in,
Which
but
fine.
but from somewhere that looks like it could be a strike at some point, not from your chin into your cheekbone.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you know, I you know that's his. I think that's his biggest strength is his movement. I don't think he's got to overpower guys. I just think he's got to get the sinker sinking one way and the slider moving the other way.
And then work off with the fastball and the change. Yeah, like that was his bread and butter all when he was an all-star. Like he struck out the side in the all-star game while I had John Smoltz in his ear calling him sexy. Like, that's the version I want to see going forward.
You know, who knows if he'll ever get back to that. I hope he does, truly. And
Yeah.
it's going to be probably one of the more intriguing storylines of the season.
Yeah, it's going to be something we're going to have to keep an eye on. Real quick before we move on to Springer, sticking with pitchers, what's to be done with Nate Pearson? What are we going to do about Nate Pearson?
I guess he's going to be in the bullpen, eh? Probably to start the year. And
I don't know if he will be because Mitch White's out of options.
Mitch
Bowden,
White is throwing heat.
he's throwing heat, but he's also peaked at AAA.
Yeah, he's
You
never
know,
not once.
no, he's never really panned out in the majors. So either the Jays
Huh.
gamble and put him in the pen as a long man or a mid relief guy to start the year, or they like send him down to AAA, but he has to clear waivers and pray to God someone doesn't pick him up. Which at the same time, would it be that bad if someone picked him up?
Yeah, I mean they're
You
really
know,
using the
a,
like
a team like the Pirates could maybe use an arm like that. Someone who's not exactly like a superstar, but someone that can solidify a rotation that's on a team that's rebuilding, right?
I think I
But
pick him up. I think someone pick him up, but
yeah, I heard Kevin Barker talking about this. He's like the only reason why the scouting system likes Mitch White is because they got him from the Dodgers. I was like, that's kind of taking a dump in scouting in the
yeah,
scout's mouth, but at the same time, he's kind of got a point.
yes. I was gonna say if someone picked up Thomas Hatch,
That's a
someone
good.
picked up Mitch White.
Yeah, I mean, didn't who picked up Thomas Hatch? Wasn't it the Pirates that picked up Hatch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There you
yeah,
go.
we'll have to see how that. They've got some extra guys. They brought in this Paulo Espino guy who's looked good.
But he throws what 88.
Yeah, but he's looked pretty filthy. But yeah.
Yeah, he's got some good movement on his pitches for sure.
All right, Georgie boy.
Yeah.
This is the time, buddy. The time is now. This is the year. This might be the last year you got before the body breaks down and you hit that point. I don't know. Is that fair to say? Or do you think that?
No, I'm in 100% agreement. It sucks to say because I love George Springer. I think he's a great guy for the clubhouse. He really gets along with the guys, but
Great
at
leader.
least great leader. Yeah. But Jesus Christ. I was talking to a couple buddies about this, and I was saying that it seems that Springer is more concerned or focused on staying healthy than he is at producing. So what I meant by that was he's looks like, correct me if I'm wrong from what you saw last year, Chris, but to me, it looked like he was swinging at about 75, 80% of what he could actually, like his bat speed and his timing and everything, because he was worried that, he might get hurt swinging the bat or something might pull, like he might pull a muscle or tear something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'd say it's hard to gauge that, but he didn't have a good year, and he wasn't hitting balls, especially fastballs. He wasn't
Mhm.
yanking them and ripping them like he normally does, or he had in years prior. So, I will say you could kind of see him, having a down year. He was pretty good in right field. The defense was fine in right field, I think.
He played 142 games or something, or 44 games, something like that.
It's better to
So
have him there leading off than not.
yeah, I agree.
Well, you have him on the team. And I think that could be the reason why the Jays are signing these kind of 1 year DHs, veteran guys, is because at some point, Springer's just going to slot in as that guy.
Yeah.
But hopefully this year he has said he's going to try and focus more on pulling the ball and on those fastballs. So hopefully, I would love to see it. I would love to see him do that because I still think, to a certain extent, he's just in the twilight of his prime. Probably, I would say. I think
Yeah.
he's in him now. Um, if it all clicks, and I hope it does. But yeah, I think this might be the last year that you could say he's still somewhat in his prime.
Well, he's going to be 35 at the end of the season after it's over. So yeah, I am inclined to agree with you about, like, this is probably the final year where he can go out and show out.
Him hitting like 30 home runs.
I love that. As a leadoff guy hitting 30 bombs, I will definitely take that. But
Ideal.
also with everything like last year, everyone else has to follow suit. When your most clutch guy in your batting order is Danny Jansen, I love Jano, but there's a problem there. A guy who plays half the games because him and Kirk are platoon catchers,
Yeah.
So speaking of Kirk real quick, he's looked fantastic in the spring. He's got what, 2 or 3 home runs.
Yeah,
Looks
he's
like he's kind of getting the head out a bit quicker now.
here getting there on time this year. No kids.
Yeah,
No.
that's a good point. Yeah.
Congrats, but you know, it probably feels good for him to get into the swing of it quickly.
100%.
All right. So we've kind of gone through most of the team, kind of, the big position groups, bullpens
Mhm.
about. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this, has kind of been like a honest assessment of what's going on. We're not trying to sugarcoat anything. I mean, I think I like my ideal situation almost to start the year is that, obviously starting with a tough schedule. Actually, I don't know if you've looked at it, but it's tough, and they're on the road because of these renovations again.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they look good.
I have a friend actually that works for PCL, who's like the contracting company that was working on the renovations. She told me that they're done. Like, they've been done for about 2 weeks now. It's just because they didn't know if they were going to get them done in time.
Okay, well that's
So
good.
that's why they started on the road for, what is it, 15, 14 games or something. And it's Tampa Bay twice. And
It's like Tampa. I think they have the East, Houston,
oh,
uh, Seattle maybe or something. No, not Seattle. Yeah, some heater like that. Uh,
lovely.
yeah, so it's gonna be a big, big, big start to the year. Um,
No kidding.
but okay, so what I was kind of say is like I think we should maybe end on what we think would be a success or what kind of overall we're expecting from the team this year. Like in my mind, I think an ideal situation is you start hot, the pitching's good out of the gate. You got some guys having good starts,
Mhm.
you know. you're showing the front office that you're a team worth maybe investing in,
Yep.
and trade deadline, then they can get their big bat or bats, and the pitching staff. I think there's some depth there. There's you know, I don't see much of a need. At the trade deadline, obviously there'll probably be needs and with some pitchers maybe, but I think if you can get to the trade deadline and you're competitive, you can look for bats then. I think like if Cleveland is out of it and Jose Ramirez might get traded and maybe they want Ricky Tiedemann, I mean, I might do it.
If 1-for-1, Ricky Tiedemanman for Jose Ramirez.
I have to give him more, but whatever, you can throw in whatever.
But like Ricky Tiedemann say is like the key piece.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's a million scenarios where that could be a thing. Scenario number one is if Manoah completely bounces back and or not even bounces back all the way, but like is 75% of what he was in 2022, then I'd say yes.
Well, I mean,
Um,
I don't know. I'm just saying like a bat, like something like that. Like, yeah. If there's a team that's out of it with like a very good offensive player like that,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know if that would work because Cleveland's got like a lot of pitching, a lot of young pitching. But yeah,
Well, I mean, they like what the thing is about the AL Central is that it's so weak. It's so bad.
always win it.
Like what if somehow like I mean their payroll is one of the lowest in the league, and somehow if they have like a record that's 8 games, 9 games over 500 and they win their division, or if they're in first place at the deadline,
Yeah,
even if they're only 2 or 3 games over 500 or at 500, which we saw last year was very similar numbers, right? Like the Twins won their division, but because their record was so bad, they had to play us in the wild card, right? So you can win that division with a even or like an 81-81 record or like 85-78 or whatever the hell the fucking number. Like you
yeah,
don't need a really solid, like you don't need to have 100+ wins to win their division.
yeah. But Jose Ramirez is probably nice to have. So
Oh yeah. And he's on all things considered, it's a pretty team friendly contract, 20.1 million a year.
you know how in kind of the MLB when you get to the deadline, there's like uh when like sellers and buyers. There's buyers and sellers. There's kind of
Yeah.
you kind of get teams kind of get like split in half.
Yeah.
And I guess that this team should do everything they can to be on the right side of that
Mhm.
coming into the trade deadline this year because I can see it going either way. Honestly, like
It's a weird thing where my fandom is being dumbed down by my objectivity and my rational thought is that my expectations for this team are not to win the World Series. They're not to,
I could see them winning more than 80 games.
yeah, like, but I don't know if they win more than 91. That said, the Orioles, for all we know, can take a huge step back.
Or they could take a nice step forward. Like,
I've talked to my friends about this. They're basically the Houston Astros of the 2020s.
they're good.
Right? Like the Astros had all those number one picks, like Correa, Altuve, Bregman, like those huge first round picks for 7 years. And then now they've built this immense roster, this incredible core of young players that are insane.
That I pray that the Jays can play better against the division this year because last year that was embarrassing.
It was fraudulent.
Um, but yeah, I mean, like you said, I don't expect them to to win the World Series. The past couple of years, there has been chatter
Yeah.
about that. I don't think that should be the case this year. I don't think that we're looking at a World Series team right now. But I think if, like I said, if things go the right way, I think it's a playoff team. Not much has changed. They made the playoffs last year. They replaced, a couple of guys with maybe more guys that aren't as good.
Yeah.
But no, it's not vastly different. And, a lot of guys had down years. So hopefully they could win. I'd say if you get to the trade deadline, if it's an exciting trade deadline in second half, if you can get to that point, just take that excitement and be happy about it, I guess, as a fan, because who knows what'll happen. The Diamondbacks made the World Series last year. I'm sure nobody on the World Series team.
That one still stings. That one still stings
And
a little
last,
bit.
maybe just lastly, the front office, I think,
Mhm.
I think they're under a bit of pressure.
I would hope so. All
Yeah.
things considered, considering Rogers has spent 250 million on a renovation to bring more people to the ballpark. But on top of that, first things first, you got to have a team that's competitive.
It's true. It's true. And I just think with the way that last year ended too, there's some unhappy fans
Mm.
coming into this season, and hopefully the team because it would not be good to compile that on
No.
top of the embarrassing exit last season. It would not be good, and I hope it doesn't happen. But I could see it getting a little, maybe ropey if the
Well, can we just talk about the fact that you had John Schneider saying that it was a overall management decision, meaning himself, Ross Atkins, Mark Shapiro, with the Jose Barrios getting pulled in game two.
Mhm.
And then Atkins comes out and throws Schneider under the bus and basically says, those meetings are John Schneider's meetings. I certainly do not attend those meetings, and I certainly do not tell him when to pull our players.
I mean, I feel like they're both probably kind of right in their own way. Like, I'm sure they probably set up the plan, but Schneider had to like put the plan in action, I guess. Um, yeah, I mean, it happened. wasn't wasn't the right move, obviously. And
No,
it didn't look good, and it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Especially because we watched it unfold horribly, and basically end the season. And after a long grind of a season like the Jays had, where I will say, there weren't many like really good fun stretches out of a kind of a grind of a season where they just kind of got through it and
yeah,
got
no win came easy except for the one game where they beat Tampa like 20-4.
yeah, like honestly, like it was not an easy season to get through, and they did somehow in
Yeah.
the playoffs. And yeah, I mean, it was kind of fitting, but also very frustrating. And I just hope that I hope that they can have some juice this year, have some spirit. You didn't see a lot of that. That fire like the 2015-16 teams had, the swagger. You
Yeah.
pitchers, I would say, but with the lineup, they weren't really striking fear into anybody at all. So
No. No. And yeah, I
come together and maybe with a little less talent, be like, hey, we're like doubted this year. Let's prove people wrong.
well, that's been their whole mantra throughout spring training and throughout training camp. It was like we were expected to win it all or go far, and now we're doubted. So I'm like, boys, use that as fuel.
Yeah,
Go out there and show people that you were once worth the hype. I mean, there are guys on this team that I'm not worried about. Bo Bichette. I'm not worried about Vladdy because as much as everyone likes to poo-poo on his season last year, 24 or 20, what is it, 20, 24 home runs, 26 home runs, and 94 driven in is not a bad, like, that's an all-star year to your average baseball player. If
absolutely.
that's considered a shit year for Vladimir Guerrero Jr., come on, man.
I know. Yeah, I mean, it's not. I just think we hold him to a high standard.
Well, we hold him to generational talent. He's the son of a Hall of Famer, right? Guy.
I mean, and he's kind of shown what he can do.
Exactly. So, him and Bo, I'm not worried about. George Springer's a question mark. For me, it's a coin toss, heads or tails.
I mean, him
Um,
year could do wonders for
what's
this.
that?
Him having a big year could do.
Oh, yeah, 100% it could.
I do like I'm
Um,
capable this year. So
yeah, so he's a toss up right now for me. Turner, I think if he just sticks to what he did last year and just repeats it, he's been around the game long enough. He's had enough at bats.
indeed, he's smart, and Varsho too. Don't have to get into it too much, but I do. He had a bad year, so hopefully it's better. I mean,
Yeah, I
it
mean
will.
he's refined his batting stance. He doesn't have his hands wigging around too much, so that's I guess beneficial for him. He's looked solid at the plate this year. He's not chasing the high fastballs as much. Kiermaier, I'm not expecting anything out of him. He's going to be batting ninth. Just if he hits 250, steals 20 bags, I'm good with that. Plays stellar defense like he has for the last over a decade.
be the best 9-hole hitter in the game.
Why not? That's what he aspired to be last year, and it's hard to argue that he wasn't. But the from like 5 to 8,
Mhm.
what do we do? Like you said, with the whole Matt Chapman departure, you're plugging a hole with Isaiah.
Flip the lineup over, maybe maybe
Small ball.
or
Yeah, drop a bunt down.
you got Davis Schneider down there that can run into one.
He's the one. Like I sorry, but I know we're kind of coming to the end here, but we really need to talk about this. Is that you have Davis Schneider, IKF, Santiago Espinal, Cavan Biggio, all competing for 2 positions. Because Schneider can play left field, absolutely, but Varsho's going to be manning that position.
Yeah, you might have to get rid of one of those guys.
Well, who's the odd man out in your opinion? IKF's not. He's the guy who's under contract. Biggio is a lefty, which goes a long way. And then I think it's Espinal
for me, but been there a while. Friend of Brad.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, Espinal's he's the odd man out. Mm-hmm. As far as if you were to solidify the team at the deadline and send him to a team that, in a package trade for like you said, like a Jose Ramirez or something. I mean, his value's not that great, but
yeah, I mean, having flexibility is never bad. Half isn't bad, but yeah, it's at a certain point, it's like somebody, we had too many guys here. Yeah. There's just only, guys are gonna have to be okay with playing less, and maybe they will be. Just happy to be on the team, and you get some hacks, maybe start some pitch hitting, pinch running, and stuff like that. Just when you get in the game, you don't mess up. That's what I'll say. All right, Jeff, that was actually great, dude.
Yeah, I thought so. We kept it pretty quick, but just a quick recap.
Maybe we could, meet maybe again a couple times before the season starts. Maybe go through more in depth, like the lineup and the rotation and what. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, also our sample size right now with what we've seen isn't big enough to really make any justifiable, not moves, but opinions, I guess would be the proper term, because we haven't seen Gausman yet, haven't really seen Manoah. Kikuchi's only had 1 start or 2 starts. We need more of a sample size.
Yeah, I mean, spring training is spring training. But we could do, we could do more preview stuff, predictions and stuff like that. Maybe we could do some predictions.
Do an AL East 1 to 5. Who's going to finish where?
Some win-loss rep predictions and some awards and stuff like that, and see how we do.
Hot takes on who on the J,
even outside of the Jays, we can maybe bet or not bet on some pick some stuff. Yeah. So maybe we'll set up the season in about a week or 2, maybe just about a week before the season starts. And it was great back doing this.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely, buddy. All right. Well, we will speak to you guys soon. We will try our very best to stick with it and pump these out throughout the season as often as possible. So from Chris May, he's been Jack Ryan. You guys have a great rest of your day, night, evening, wherever or whenever it may be. Take it easy.
Peace, folks.